Your color made to be black.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of She Good People Podcast. I am half of your hosting crew. My name is Kelsey Coop Charles, aka KC, and along with me, I have my partner in crime, Antonio Brulong Long. Brulong, how's it going today?
What's up, peoples? How y'all doing today?
All right, all right. So I'm always going to ask this question. Start out, how you feeling today?
Feeling lovely, though. Been a great week so far. Seen some outstanding basketball, which is our topic for this week. But as always, we have some people we like to shout out before we get started. First, is a repeat of our last show, the Charlotte Comic Con. My good friend, Mr. David Henson, and the folks in Charlotte, North Carolina, and all the comic book shops and all the surrounding shops in both North and South Carolina. They'll be there for this one-day convention, August 1st. It'll be from 10 o'clock to 4 p.m. in the afternoon. I can honestly say it's the best one-day show in all of the Carolinas, probably in all the South. If you need some more information, you can go to their Facebook page, or you can go to charlottecomiccon.com. You can get all the artists that's going to be there, all the different shops that's going to be represented there, and also the collectors and a lot of the sellers that'll be available during that time. And then also we want to shout out big event making this comeback. It was canceled last year due to COVID. Pig on the Ridge Barbecue Festival in Ridgeway, South Carolina, November 5th and 6th. November 5th, we're doing a live broadcast showing the street party and the preparations for the barbecue festival, where everybody will be starting to cook and getting everything together for the competition that will start on Saturday morning. We'll be talking to a lot of the judges. We'll be talking to a lot of the folks in Ridgeway that is in charge of this great festival, one of the best barbecue festivals in the South. And also we'll be talking to some of the contestants that are in the festival. We have people come from all over the South. Have a gentleman that I know of that comes from Tennessee, has some of the best Scuffernine barbecue sauce that you ever want to taste. So we'll go around, we'll do a little chat with different folks, and let everybody know what we do in our part of the world, just so everybody can see, the South has something to say, as we always say, and at the same time, just show overall how the community comes together and just have a out and out good time. Kelsey, I know you've been there with me before. You've seen how good it's been. I know you'll be here for this one, so we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'll try to remember a little bit more of this one. I will say the last one was epic. I'll put it that way, and I'll leave it at that. It was an epic outing.
When you come to my hometown, I take care of you, baby. I take care of you.
Yeah, we definitely had a good time. Definitely had a good time.
All right, so let's get into episode 7. Again, thank you all for joining us. Episode 7 is the NBA Finals review, and we also going to do a little bit of the 2022 forecast for the NBA as well.
Right. So as we all know, I think I came on podcast last time, and I declared the Suns champs from the start. I was correct in saying that they would make it to the finals, but they came up a little short. And it's all because of, I guess, the newly crowned Superman, Giannis Antetokounmpo.
I'm not gonna give him the Superman. Giannis is unto himself, man. I gotta say, Game 6, I saw something I hadn't seen since early 2000s with Shaq. Maybe even, Tim Duncan at his height. I saw a man just take over a basketball game and was not going to lose no matter what you did. He showed out, man. That's the only way you can put it.
The most impressive thing to me was he hit his free throws. He was, what, 17 and 19?
17 and 19.
I mean, that's saying a lot.
That's saying a lot, but I'm going to be honest. I've seen a lot of basketball since I've been in this world, but to put 50 on a closeout game, man, that's amazing by itself. And then the way that he got his 50, you know, he showed you every piece of his repertoire in this game, inside, outside, defense. You know, the question, you know, a lot was Wednesday morning was, you know, is Giannis the new best player in the world? No, he's not the best player in the world, but for one game, he put on the best show that you could have put on to try to win a championship. You know, a lot of people compared it to Jordan in '98 when they beat on his final shot when he beat Brian Russell. I'm just going to say, really, the dominance that I saw, it does my heart good as a basketball fan to see a 7-foot man play down low. You know what I mean?
That's old school. That's old school basketball. But I got to ask this question too. Do you think his dominant performance was because of lack of defense from the Suns, or do you think he just willed himself to put up those type of numbers and just do whatever he could? He wasn't going to be denied.
I think it was both, to be honest, because of the fact, looking at it, I can truly say that, you know, he did this consistently for 4 games. It wasn't like, well, really all 6 games, because the first game he had 42 points and he was coming off a bad knee. They just, you know, got down so fast and was trying to come back in the first game. But he dominated this whole series. You know, it wasn't just, you know, Tuesday night. I mean, from game 1, he was unstoppable. And you saw it, you know, more and more, he knew ain't nobody out here can guard me. You know, they tried with Ayton. That was a mistake. You know, you put him in foul trouble. Ayton is a good defensive player. He's not good enough to guard Giannis. He's not strong enough to guard Giannis.
That's true, because he handled everybody else he saw coming out of the West. But yeah, Giannis was a different animal in the East.
Well, that, and plus I appreciate the NBA allowing these cats to play ball, man. You ain't gonna get a foul call unless it was truly a foul, you know.
Well, what was that, game 5? Now I will say the refs, they were consistently bad for both teams. I mean, some of that play calling was a little suspect for me.
Well, I would say it was like that. It was like that. But one of the things was, you know, it had to be a glaring mistake before they made a call.
And that, with Devin Booker,
well,
foul out.
You know, but I want to say stuff about Book, man, but you know, I ain't gonna go there yet. It's too early in the show for this. But him and Chris Paul, man, oh, come on, man. Y'all, the first 2 games, y'all look like an unstoppable force. The last 4 games,
what do you think? Well, Devin Booker historically has had problems in game 3, but do you think Devin kind of deferred to Chris Paul to be the leader, or what do you think? He just diminished the game, or I mean, what are your thoughts on Devin?
Well, the thing about Devin is, you know, I think in some ways the run that they made to the championship was a little too much for him at an early point when this is your first chance of getting into the playoffs. And one thing about playoffs, and you old enough to realize, you know, you got to go through some defeats before you get to winning. And for them just to come out and get to the finals, you know, they hadn't been in playoffs ever, you know, so it was an outstanding feat for them to get to that point.
Now, I know last season was probably going to be an asterisk in everybody's book, and some would say this season was too, but they didn't lose in the bubble.
They didn't lose in the
bubble. That was their playoff last year.
They didn't lose in the bubble, but I'm gonna say, you know, the bubble was not reflective of pure basketball. I take that same way I look at the Heat from last year. The Heat had no business being in the finals. The Heat got hot at the right time.
That's true.
That's a pun, but the Heat got hot at the right time. If they would have been in their home courts, I don't think the Lakers would have won championship last year, to be honest.
Well, it's kind of like Jason Tatum was saying, you know, you have people playing in the bubble, playing out of their minds because they didn't have the pressure of being on the road. They didn't have the crowd. They didn't feed in all that. So you've got two types of players in the NBA. Well, three types. And one doesn't matter either way. But then you've got the ones that step it up a notch for the home crowd because they want to put on a show. Some to step it up on the road because they want, like Trae Young. I mean, he was loving every minute of that.
Yeah.
And then you got some that if the lights are off, I mean, you've got great players in practice, but when it gets to the game, they diminish.
Well,
You look at what's my guy's name? Terrence Mann,
yeah.
Clippers. I mean,
Yeah.
they said the breakout game he had, they see him do stuff like that in practice all the time, but it's got to be able to translate to the lights.
Well, historically in the NBA, your role players play better at home. That's always been the case. Except unless you know somebody like the Lakers or the old school Celtics or the Bulls, you know, they played wherever they was.
Right.
But you know, most of the time your role players play better at home. And we've seen that really in this series too. But what I saw Tuesday night was team followed Giannis to the promised land. He put them boys on his back, and I saw, you know, everybody on that team say, "We're gonna follow you as long as you doing it," because you know, at one stretch there in the third quarter, you know, every time he went down the court, they were feeding him, and he was killing them boys, man. Right. And then when they started collapsing on him, he started making them pass out. You know, Brook Lopez, you know, hitting, you know, big dunks coming down the lane. You know, Middleton started getting hot. You know, Bobby Porter's hitting shots. Yeah. Come on, man.
Yeah, shout out to South Carolina, Chris Middleton.
Yes,
you know, he did
Middleton and Porter. South Carolina strong, baby.
I will say this, though. I enjoy watching Chris Middleton's game. It's not because of the smooth shots he makes. You know, he'll have some games where he'll quietly get 40 points on you. Mm-hmm. And then you got some games you expect him to do a lot, and it looks like he's scoring a lot, but he only has 15, 17 points. But, you know, I call him the modern day Chris Paul because he's almost one of the slowest fellas in the NBA, but one of the purest shooters. I mean, if you want to watch textbook form shooting, watch Chris Middleton. He's nice. I like watching his game.
Well, one of the things I liked about this championship was you got to see the next generation of the NBA be showcased. I think Devin Booker is going to be a star for a long time. You know, so you saw the Suns get there. Giannis has accomplished a whole lot in a short period of time. But the thing is, you know, he's just now getting to the point where you're supposed to be winning. You know what I'm saying? Right. You know, the 2 MVPs is one thing.
Well, he was 7 years in now?
He 8 years in. 8 years in. Okay. But see, people forget he was 15 years old when he started, man.
That's true. You
know, this cat just turned 26. You know, he is still developing. You know,
still
really
the game.
In the NBA, you know, 29, 30, 31 is your years when you really, you know, I got this game down pat, what y'all gonna do? And seeing what he doing right now, really, there ain't nobody in the league that can stop him.
So you mean to tell me not to switch gears too much, but Kyrie is how old, 25, 26?
Yeah.
So you mean another 3 years, he's going to be that dude?
I don't know if Kyrie's ever going to be that dude, man, because I'm going to tell you like this here. Kyrie is an outstanding offensive player. But Kyrie, I don't think plays well with others. You know, yeah. James Harden is the same way. He doesn't play well with others. That's one of the disadvantages I see to these guys' game. KD can play anywhere because it's KD, man. There's only one KD. There isn't anybody else like him. KD, Giannis, you know, Luka. These are some cats that's in different stratospheres. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, Kyrie, you know,
he can be.
He can be, but see, one of the things about Kyrie get in this selfish mode where he get in his feelings, man, and you know, he'll screw up a team, you know, and I've seen it. You know, we've seen it the whole time he's been in the league, man. If he's the man, yeah, he the man. That's all well and fine. But you put somebody else with him, he gonna, you know, he went AWOL for half the year this year. You know what I'm saying? Just because he got in his feelings. You know, you can't win no championship like that.
I thought he had a good situation in Boston, especially with the young core that was coming up. They were supposed to be dominant for a long time, but it didn't work out.
No, it didn't work out. And you look at one of the things I can say about the Bucks is they were a team. You know, they, even though they got a superstar, a transcendent generational type superstar, they were a team. They did not depend on Giannis, but Giannis cared. You know what I mean? It's not where I'm looking at you. You got to put us there. You got to do this. You got to do that. Everybody knew. I think Drew Holiday said it, you know, best Tuesday night. He said everybody was a star in their role. That's how you win NBA championships. Okay, your superstar is gonna get theirs. That's a given on any night.
You do your role, you handle your role, and everything will work out.
And that's how you win. You know, Mike got 6 rings. Mike wouldn't have the 6 rings. Everybody always say, you know, Mike wouldn't have the 6 rings if it wasn't for Scottie. Yeah, he still has 6 rings because Scottie wasn't the one that carried him all the time. Paxson, Kerr, BJ Armstrong, you know, these guys made shots when it was necessary. You know, Mike and Scottie was the stars, but they made what they needed to make when it was time to do it. Anybody that's won, Big Shot Rob, classic example. Man got 7 rings, you know, by making big shots in critical games in the playoffs. Okay, he benefited from playing your first few years with Olajuwon, Sam Cassell, and Kenny Smith and all them cats. And then you go, you play with the Lakers for years and years and years with Shaq and Kobe.
Yeah.
You know, and then you finish up your career in San Antonio with the great Tim Duncan. Come on, man. Yeah. You're supposed to have 7 rings. Okay? Because you didn't play with some of the transcendent stars of your era. So there's no reason for you not to have 7 rings.
And he fit in perfectly. I mean, he played his role, and when he called upon, he answered the bell.
You know. So before we, you know, switch gears, let's finish up Bucks and the Suns. You think the Bucks gonna repeat?
Nope.
Okay, that was pretty quick.
I don't see it. I think they're a great team. Don't get me wrong. But the East, I will say, if Philadelphia can fix the few little quirks that they have, Philadelphia might give them a run.
You know, that's my team. You know, them my boys, but nah.
Well, I mean, they talent-wise, I think they can handle it, but they've got to be able to play as a unit. With the other Curry brother, I mean, and Embiid, they have a chance.
No. And I get into that at the end of the show. I'm just gonna go on and put it there. I'm just gonna say a big nah. For those of you that are not from South Carolina, that means no. Okay.
Yeah, and then I think if Brooklyn could gel, they could give the Bucks a run for the money.
Nah. And I'll tell you why right now.
I understand Kyrie and James, but Spencer's
Kyrie and James is not gonna play with KD. Okay. That is not gonna work.
Well, I would say Kyrie because Harden and KD earlier in their careers, I mean, they play together, they know each other, they understand the chemistry.
James Harden will not win an NBA championship. I'm saying it right now. James Harden will
make it out of the East at least. Now coming up against the Warriors or whoever else in the West, I don't see it. But
James Harden will not win
an
NBA championship ever. Okay, mark it down.
I don't know,
he ain't got the temperament for it. I'm just gonna say that. Okay,
he might. We'll see.
Right.
We'll see.
All right. So let's talk about the Suns. You think the Suns got enough?
No.
What they gonna need? Chris Paul might not come back. So what you think?
I think they'll be all right with Peyton.
They make the playoffs next year?
Yeah, they'll make the playoffs.
Okay.
I think they need a complimentary big guy or a good strong power forward to help Ayton out.
I can go along with
pressure off of that.
I can go along with that.
They get that one player, I think they'll be all right.
I think they're gonna need more than one. I think what they're gonna need is they need somebody to come in with the second unit that's a consistent scorer. That's gonna be their key. Because if Booker has to go out, Cam Johnson has to go out for any length of time, you know, whether it's injury or anything like that, I just don't see them putting up enough points.
Oh no, they won't. No, you got to have them healthy. You've got to have them healthy. I think he benefited from that this year.
Ideally, if Lemon Pepper Lou don't go back to Atlanta, that'd be the fella I'd try to get on that team, man. That's instant offense off the bench, and that's what they need.
I think they saw some success, so Lemon Pepper might be staying in Atlanta.
Well, I think he is, but
anyway.
But you need that type player to come off the bench with that second unit, because they starters are fine. Even if Chris Paul leaves, their starters are fine. It's just going to be their second unit is going to be lacking, and with them picking where they're going to pick this year, and unless they do some outstanding scouting, I just don't see them getting that type of player unless they go through mid-level exemption or get a big-time free agent to want to come there.
Yeah, well, they might get D Rose. Who knows?
Okay. Now that's a perfect. Now that might be a perfect fit for them right there.
If New York willing to deal him, they might get him.
Well, that takes us into the off season. All right. Now, before we get into that, I want to say one of the things that I was proud of Giannis. Giannis stunted on the whole league with his press conference Tuesday night after the win, when he said he could have went out and joined the super team, and I could have got here quicker. But why would I do that when, I'd rather do it the hard way, like he done. And now if he don't win another championship, he has cemented himself in the lore of the NBA.
Yeah, I just feel like, coming from the old era up till now, yeah, you had some teams built by the draft, but it's hard to say that, you didn't have super teams before, Paul Pierce and those guys joined forces, because, you think about back in the day, every team had at least 3 all-stars on it. And that's going to be an argument from, and they did it through the draft, don't get me wrong, but.
Well, not all the time, because if you go back when we were younger in the 70s and 80s, those teams were built for the most part through the draft, but they had a key free agent at some point, or they made a trade to get somebody. Exactly. The Celtics, they got Robert Parrish, got Dennis Johnson, and got Kevin McHale through trades. The Lakers, they got Magic and they had Kareem, but they got lucky. I still ain't figured out how they got Big Game James, because they won the championship the year before, and I know James didn't fall that far. And then that was the core of the Lakers for years and years. But the Lakers had one of the best benches of any team. But see, back then there was only 24 teams, so 1 through 12, all of them were great guys.
Yeah.
It's not like how it is now, where your 12th place player is just a practice player. He ain't getting on the floor, man.
Exactly.
So that's the biggest difference between now and back then. Even the Bulls, the first three-peat was all homegrown, except for Paxson. The second three-peat was all homegrown except for Rodman. That was the difference with the Bulls.
Well, let me ask this question then. A lot of times people say, okay, they didn't join a super team to do it. But the Warriors pre-KD, they were forced to be reckoned with. You got Clay and you got Steph, and arguably the nucleus of that whole thing to make it work was Draymond, because with him and his prowess and everything, that wasn't a super team though. But they would, if you're on the outside looking in, you would consider that a super team.
You would consider it a super team. They had before KD came, they had an outstanding second unit that made it easier for Clay and Steph to take, sit down and get a rest, and they didn't have to worry about any drop off. I think one of the things, the disservice that they did was bringing in KD, because they lost a lot of that bench, and they changed the way that they played, which they relied too much on isolation ball at that point. Because you had KD,
Miami suffered the same thing, but go ahead.
Those are the things that you deal with. Sometimes when you bring in too many good players on one team, you lose your bench. Sometimes you might be better to stick with the hand that you dealt and work with it that way versus bringing in these free agents, because to be honest, free agents eat up all your cap room, man, and you need that second unit on any NBA team. That second unit is a vital part of your team, because if you don't have that a good second unit, you're not going to win in the NBA.
No, not at all. Yeah, you need a good Lou Williams and Montrezl Harrell combination. You need a good Jamal Crawford. You need those guys.
You need these cats that's number 6, number 7 off your bench that while your stars are sitting down can carry the team for 3, 4, 5 minutes at a time. Get your stars back in, and then at crunch time they might be on the floor because hey, I can hit a big shot whenever it's time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I call him the 6th man. I call him the starter who chose to come off the bench or who deferred to come off the bench.
Right. And you need that. I mean, one of the greatest 6 men of all time, Dennis Johnson, microwave. When he came in the game, shoot, that was 20. You already knew that.
Yeah, if his mouth was closed, he wasn't going to go with that mouth open. Man.
Oh yeah, he was unstoppable then, man. You got to figure. I mean, that unit the Pistons had back then, with him and James Edwards coming off the bench, with Sally and Rodman at the time coming off the bench. I mean, that second unit was reason why the Pistons won 2 championships. Isaiah and Dumas was great. But you don't win without them, playing in that role.
Exactly.
So that's the biggest thing. So with Giannis saying that about the super team, you think you're throwing shade at LeBron and KD?
Well, I think so. Definitely. But you got to be careful because you got to be able to back that up. And I think those are great players, but from a team standpoint, they had the chemistry. Yeah. But individually, those are some outstanding players.
I'm not going to disagree with you on that, but I'm going to say this here. Because of that trash talk Tuesday night, that's going to make next season that much more better. I'm highly anticipating looking at next season, because next season is just going to be a free-for-all, all-out brawl, because now you got, out of the 30 teams in the NBA, you're looking at right now, I would say 24 that are hitting on something. There's only 6 that's struggling, but you got 24 that is playing for something. And it didn't always used to be like that.
Yeah, that's true. Now I say probably not next year, but the year after next, everybody better watch out for Memphis. If they make a couple more plays, they better watch out.
You know what? I'm glad you brought that up, because what I did was I was playing around. I was real hyped Tuesday night after the game and whatever, and I started throwing out Christmas Day matchups. And this is what I want to see. And if anybody in the NBA is listening, I live in South Carolina. Hit me up. I'm on Facebook, so don't worry about it. But this is what I want to see. I want to see the Bucks and the Nets Christmas Day. I want to see the Lakers and the Warriors, because I think the Warriors gonna put foot in the Lakers this year, just because of the disrespect that they have received over the last 2 years when they've been fighting injuries and all of this here and all this trash talk that KD ain't there, they ain't gonna be there. I think Stephen Clay is going to be ridiculous, man.
Oh yeah, it's meet me there or beat me there kind of deal.
Right.
I mean, we probably gonna hang 60 on these teams between the two of us for a long 60 to 70. I'm thinking that's gonna be their average. Because I mean, you got a guy in Clay. If he gets his shot, if his shot is bad, oh man. I would arguably say he might be. Well, no, I can't say that. He's just a shooter.
I'll say it. I'll say it for you. Clay is the most dangerous man in the NBA.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Because you will sit there and you be like, man, Clay hot, and then you realize Clay got 60, and you trying to figure out when he got 60 points, because Clay is that dangerous. Everybody worry about the babyface assassin. I understand.
And he's dangerous too.
He is to be dangerous, and he is all that. But Clay will mess around and drop 60, and you like, well, wait a minute, when he got all these points, because that just and he will mix it up, 25 points in a quarter, and you like, man, what going on here?
That's true. And I think and they're going to take it up another notch, because the thing I like about the Warriors, and a lot of people don't like it about Steph, but I mean, he celebrates Clay a lot. Hey, he loves to see Clay get hot, because he knows there's less pressure on him. And if Clay's out, they're almost unstoppable. I mean, honestly.
That Mark Jackson said it when he was their coach, and he says it all the time. when he calls their game. That is the most dynamic backcourt ever in the NBA. And I cannot say that it ain't, because most of the time you got either a man that's good at making assists or a man that's good at scoring. You don't never have both, both.
The only thing I would say they're lacking is and it's a knock on Steph, not Klay. I think Klay has a complete game. Steph's defense leaves a little to be desired, but when you got offense like his, I guess you don't have to worry about defense.
Well, the thing about Steph is Steph struggles against elite point guards.
Kyrie.
Well, Kyrie make a lot of people look stupid, man. I mean, it ain't.
It's like he got a personal vendetta against Steph, though.
Yeah, all the dribbling. He go Uncle Drew when he play against Steph, man. And Steph, I don't think Steph really has ever took him seriously. I think it's been more, it's me and LeBron. It ain't me and you. And I think Kyrie has always been affected by that. So when he plays Steph, he plays at his best. That I think that's the biggest thing with Kyrie, and that's the reason why he gives him that much problem. But if you ever look at, I give you another point guard that Steph just kills, besides Chris Paul, Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook can't do nothing with Steph, and he don't score on Steph, and he probably has Steph by 3 inches.
Yeah, no, Steph's 6'3". I know he don't look like it, but he's 6'3".
Okay, but I think Russ, 6'5", 6'6", 6'4". Okay, Well, you look at it like this here. Okay, but he never takes advantage when he has Steph on him, and that's always been the bugaboo when he's been the point guard on that team playing against Steph. He don't take advantage of the mismatch.
That's true.
Or he can't take advantage of the mismatch, because I've seen him break LeBron down, but he won't break Steph down. That's what I don't understand. I don't know if he's scared that if he do something, Steph is gonna leave him wide open to shoot from anywhere, or what.
But he's gonna do that anyway, so it don't really matter. Hey, take a shot.
Look, them boys, when they wake up in the morning, they in rain. So that's been the only thing. The other 3 games for Christmas I'm looking at, I hope to see Mavs Clippers, Luka versus hopefully Kawhi is back by then, but if not, just because the Clippers put him out the playoffs,
Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see Kawhi coming back that fast. He might though.
He might. They said it was a partial tear, so it might not be as bad as if it was a full tear. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hope the fun guy can do it though. I hope the fun guy can make it back.
Yeah, I'm a fun guy. The other game, the Sixers versus the Hawks, a little revenge there. I want this game played in Atlanta, just because, my feeling is this: if you win your playoff series or you win against somebody, you if you're gonna be the matchup for Christmas Day, you should never be on the road.
That's true.
You're supposed to be at home. You earned the right to be at home. The Hawks beat the Sixers. I don't think the Sixers gonna make it far next year. We can't get nothing for Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons is not going to put in the work, I believe, to be an elite player in this league. Embiid is not going to hold up much longer. I got no faith in Doc, man. I'm just going to be honest.
So why don't they start to center it around Seth? He's proven that he can score. I mean, he's not his brother, but I mean, that's hard to live up to, but he's great in his own right.
Seth is a good shooter, but Seth is not that Curry. He's not Dale. He's not a Steph. So that's going to always be the problem. You're never going to center it around him. But one of the things I say about my 76ers is they ain't got no dog in them, man. Tobias Harris ain't that player. Ben Simmons has showed that's the biggest waste of 6'10" I've ever seen in my life. If anything, he should have took notice in the finals is look at Giannis. Giannis ain't the greatest shooter. Giannis is not, he's very athletic, but he's not the greatest shooter. But Giannis found a way. Ben Simmons needs to find a way. And if he don't, put him out, man. That's just bottom line.
He got to raise his arm to shoot the ball. That's what he got to do.
Oh, you don't even know which hand you want to shoot with, right or left. That's something you should have learned in Pee Wee League. What hand you want to shoot with.
Now I heard all the hype around Ben Simmons, but I never really followed him like that. So to be the number one pick, he had to show something.
When he was in college, now he went to LSU, which was still questionable to this day why he went to LSU. But anyway, he was touted as this phenomenal point guard. Okay, 6'10" with handles, can score with either hand. The problem is somewhere along the line, and it started at LSU. He started missing shots, and now I think he got the yips, and it's really messing with him. He needs a sports psychologist. He needs to work at it, and then at the same time, the Sixers can't move him because he has no value right now. Plus, they did something stupid. They gave him a supermax, which didn't make sense because
he's chilling. He's chilling now.
Yeah, I'm paid. You gonna pay me? So there ain't no incentive for him to get better. And he knows.
There is some incentive. What city did he play in?
He played in Philly, baby. You know how that is because you Cowboy fan. You know how Philly is.
Anywhere. He can't eat in Philly. He better not.
Well, this is the thing. Right now, I would seriously say for him not to show his face until the season starts, just because of the fact there's nothing that I can sit here and say I feel good about any part of his game. And I don't know if he's playing in the Olympics because he is Canadian. So that's the other issue. When you're Canadian and you play in Canada, if you don't play against other elite athletes while you're growing up, you can be turned off real quick when you get to the league and you see it's a difference than what you was used to playing against.
That's true. So
that makes a lot of sense. And the last game for Christmas, now I got two. Either one is all right with me because I want to see these stars, but I say either the Knicks versus the Heat or the Grizzlies versus the Suns.
I say Grizzlies Suns.
I want to see Ja against Booker. Part of me wanted to say Utah, but I don't want to see Utah on Christmas Day. Donovan Mitchell is a great player, but it's just like when Stockton and Malone was in Utah. It's Utah.
Yeah.
It's Utah, man. Nobody wants to go to Utah, and that's the problem.
I'm going to agree with your list except for one game.
Which game?
I would like to see the Warriors versus the Blazers. I want to see Dame and Steph go at it. If he's there.
From a entertainment standpoint, yeah, but this year I think in the NBA we need to see, and which gonna lead me to the reason why I say the Lakers versus the Warriors, because I believe the Lakers are gonna go out and get Chris Paul because LeBron said so. Mm-hmm. If they don't get Chris Paul, the other option is to get Russell Westbrook. Now, if the Lakers go get Russ, it ain't gonna work because Russ and LeBron got to be ball dominant. Anthony Davis won't never see the ball.
Yeah, because I think neither one of them can play off the ball. And that's the thing I like about Steph. Steph can play off the ball all day long. Because all he need to do is shoot. Clay too. All he need to do is touch it and shoot.
Well, see, they got a point guard.
Yeah.
Draymond is the point guard. So and they don't have to bring the ball up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So they got free reign to do as they please. Yeah. So that's what makes them different. But see, the thing about Russ and the thing about LeBron, they can't play together. Okay. I don't think LeBron is going to be able to play with Chris Paul. Be honest.
I think he will.
They'll throw a bunch of alley-oops, but you got to remember something. LeBron and Chris Paul is old.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, so you ain't gonna be no running up and down the court. Okay. You got to play half-court basketball.
I know as much as you don't like LeBron, I mean, the man's still top 10 in the NBA. I mean, you say what you want to say. He's still up there. He might be
Yeah,
37, but he's still up there compared to
yeah,
what they
he's
got
still
out
up
there.
there. But I'm gonna tell you like this here. The Lakers will not win another championship.
No, that probably won't happen. No.
Will not win another championship. Okay. And it ain't because of my dislike for LeBron James. It is because I'm a basketball fan. I understand basketball. You cannot have a team where you have a 7-foot man that don't go down low. You cannot have a team where a 6'9", 260-pound man don't go down low, and think that you're gonna win shooting jumpers. That's not gonna work. If your last name ain't Curry or Thompson, that's the only team that can win shooting jump shots. Okay.
So you mean to tell me, in the words of Charles Barkley, street clothes, David won't go down low?
Street clothes don't want to play down low, man. That's the whole reason why I don't see them getting back, because in order for them to win another championship, Street clothes got to either guard KD or he got to guard Giannis. Not gonna happen. Okay.
Well, I mean, you can guard KD because KD not gonna go down low. Giannis will, but they got Drummond for that.
But let me. Andre Drummond didn't fit with the Lakers. That was a bad move from the start. Okay. The reason why the Lakers won the year in the bubble, you had players that had roles. JaVale McGee, Dwight Howard. You know what I'm saying? You had Rondo. That's why they didn't win. Okay. You got rid of all of that because LeBron said so. And look at what you got. You got a first round exit.
Yeah, now you got to have playoff Rondo. You got to have playoff Rondo in there.
Rondo don't do nothing. I mean, he'll have a flash here and there during the season, but when it comes playoff time, that's when Rondo shines. And that go all the way back to the Celtic days.
Yeah, because when he was with Chicago and Dwayne Wade was there, he hadn't gotten hurt. Oh, man.
They would have won.
It scared them match what would have happened.
Yeah.
They would have beat the Celtics easy. They would have made it to the finals. I mean, the Eastern Conference Finals.
They would have made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. But see, that's where I see, I don't want to seem like I'm dogging the Lakers, because I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't see, if they keep doing everything that LeBron say do, they're not gonna win. You're not gonna win like that. I don't care what you say. Okay, you're gonna lose Kuzma, you're gonna lose probably Caldwell Pope. You can't pay everybody, man. So that means you got to get some younger players, or you're gonna have to get some veterans that want to take minimum
just and try to win. Yeah,
try to win. Yeah. Just to try to win, because you got to surround him with shooters. They don't have shooters right now, and even if reason why Russell Westbrook is not gonna work with LeBron, not because they ain't gonna pass to each other. Russell Westbrook can't shoot. He can go to the hole, but he can't. A consistent jump shot has been Westbrook's downfall the whole time. So he won't help the Lakers. If you get Chris Paul, that's fine. That'll work with 80% of the teams in the league. But when you play against Dame and you play against Steph, he's gonna be a liability.
Yeah, I think Chris Paul still got the dance move floating around the internet from Steph. But what do you think if they could somehow pluck Buddy Hield away from the Kings?
In order to get Buddy Hield from the Kings, you're going to have to give them something. And what are you going to give them?
Kuzma and Pope?
To be honest, I think the Kings are kind of my dog horse to make playoffs next year, because they got a squad. They need some veteran leadership somewhere, but they got a squad. If they get a veteran or they just come together, they would be a dangerous 6, 7, 8 seed coming into this thing. And then see, that's the same thing the Grizzlies is going to have to do, because they just need, one other player besides Ja to take some pressure off him. If you get a decent big man or a swing 4 or a good small forward, they're going to be dominant.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And it's set up for them. That's why I'm kind of looking forward to next year, because you got some young teams out here that can make a move here or there. not saying you got to make a big splash, but just make a conscious move, and you could do some things. You can make a big splash in NBA next year.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
All right, so I got, to finish this up. So we put a bow on this. My potential finals contenders. I got the Warriors coming out of the West. I got them playing the Bucks for the championship, and I got the Warriors getting their 4th championship.
Well, I've got the Warriors winning it all, but I'm gonna take it a different step. I'm gonna say the Nets gonna come out of the East this time.
I'm gonna say like this here. The Nets can probably get there.
They're not gonna win it, but they can come out. Yeah.
They could probably get there. The thing that's going to be the detriment, Kyrie is going to get hurt at some point. We already know that. I'm going to start calling him street clothes too, just because he always seems to go down at the most critical points. And then if James Harden is on the floor, just ain't gonna happen, man. It just ain't gonna happen.
Well, I think it was more coaching this time because you got a lot of players that never saw the court. And then you got Spencer coming back. Dinwiddie, he's coming back, so he might take some of the pressure off.
I think there's some rumblings. Somebody gonna make a deal to try to get Dinwiddie, man. And I think to be honest, he has to move. He can't stay there if that team stays intact the way that they are right now. They're gonna have to move him.
I would keep him.
You got too many stars on that team. Nash and D'Antoni ain't coaches. I'll just tell you that right now. They're good.
We know D'Antoni's track record.
We know D'Antoni's track record. Nash is a protege. So therefore, you running the same offense, and we've seen that offense does well in the regular season, doesn't do jack in the postseason.
Let me ask this question, not to change the subject, but we're gonna get right back to this. So, why does Mark Jackson not want to coach anymore?
Mark Jackson doesn't get the opportunity to coach anymore because of his stance on some religious things in the league, and that's more so. He lost his job with the Warriors because of the Warriors owners are gay. Okay, you are in San Francisco, Oakland area. He has said things before that has put him in a negative light when it comes toward the gay and lesbian community, because Mark Jackson is an ordained minister. So that's one of the issues that prevents him from getting another job. The other thing is when the Knicks didn't hire him, I think that was his last best opportunity to get a good situation. He's a New York man, played at St. John's. He was a Knick. When they didn't give him that job, I kind of felt like then that was probably his last best opportunity. So I think for the rest of his career, he's just going to be an outstanding color commentator. Jeff Van Gundy is never going to get another job because his last name is Van Gundy. So his brother has ruined that. And then plus, as long as Jeff hasn't been in the league, you calling games, but I don't think he could relate to being in that position now. I think now you got some young cats now that's coming along that's going to be some outstanding coaches as they go along. You're going to see the ladies get opportunities in the next year or so. Becky Hammond's going to have San Antonio. We already know that. That's her job. And I don't think nobody's going to question that, because that's going to be the best place for her.
No, they're going to have to deal with Pop if they do. We all know how Pop is.
We all know how Pop is. Pop's not going to take that. That's Becky's job. But see, one of the things that might prevent that is Pop. You ain't winning without Tim. So, can you coach?
Well, that was his cornerstone. I mean, for the long, so he's trying to learn now too. I mean, I think he's got a good core.
I put it like this: Pop has five championships. Okay, you have been privileged to have David Robinson, Tim Duncan, Avery Johnson, Manu Ginobili, and Tony Parker.
That was a different style of ball too. I think the league has evolved. I mean, you see the issues with Team USA. he's got to evolve to understand, I think, what's really going on nowadays. Because, like you alluded to earlier, I mean, he played the old man game. Well, not the old man, but you feed it down low, defense, move the ball.
Well, you got to have somebody down low to do that. And right now, San Antonio doesn't have that. So what are you gonna do?
Put DeRozan down there. I know he's not tall enough, but he's like the best bet down there.
He's probably the best bet. But one of the things that made the Spurs good, Spurs made good draft choices during this period. Spurs have not been making good draft choices lately. So that's hindering them.
The draft nowadays is kind of, I mean, you think about it, it's I don't know. I think it's a shift. Most guys now are probably more concerned about brand than basketball. I made this money and let me do this, let me do that. Not understanding that if I ball out, the brand will come. I think with Jordan, I mean, the blueprint. I mean, he backed up everything he was doing, and the opportunities and endorsements, all that came. Steph, I think he'll get the opportunities because he's backed up everything he's doing. But nowadays, these guys are coming in thinking, okay, how can I get to this bag? How can I get to this money? Because I really, in recent history, well, then again, I haven't been following it too tough, but I mean, I really hadn't seen any standouts,
Well, you got some young guys that came in the league in the last year or so that's been pretty good. But one of the things that's lacking is the growth in the game. These fellas have tremendous athleticism, but they don't have basketball mindsets. Right. They're good athletes, but they're not great shooters, or they're good dunkers, but they don't do the other things that you need to do to win in the NBA. And then, it's an eye opener for them when they get to the NBA, because you get a cat that, when you think about him, you don't think he's very good, and he comes out there and he puts 25, 28 on you, and you like, he ain't that good, but he's working on his craft. Case in point, Chris Middleton. You working on your craft, some of these cats, I think, just think because they roll the ball out there and they've always done it, that they feel like they're going to dominate in the league, and that's just not going to happen.
No.
Every
NBA team, you got to look at it like this. It's it's pretty much a college all-star team. I mean, I put it like that. So, I mean, everybody can play. They're not there by mistake. They're there for a reason, No. And at any given time, anybody can rise up and be the superstar of that team. But like you said, you got to put the work in. I mean, ability is going to play a part of it, but I always look at Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler came in strictly defensive.
Yep.
But now, I mean, he can do it all.
He can do it all.
Actually, with it, no, but he can do it all.
Yeah, and that's what it's going to take. I mean, you got to be. I mean, the man that just won the Finals MVP. Right now, you can put him as the best two-way player in the league because of the fact the boy played defense and the boy can score.
Not according to KD, but that's another story. Go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying, you got to be able to do that type of thing. That's called, really, really. You can tell if you watch Giannis the last few years, you've seen a tremendous move in his ability to play the game of basketball. You can tell when cats are working at their craft, when they get better at what they do. You can tell the fellas that just getting by on ability or whatever, but you see who's actually putting in the work. And what you've seen, Embiid is another example. Embiid was all right, but he has made himself into a very good basketball player if he can stay healthy.
Clay the same way. When Clay came in, Clay really couldn't shoot like that.
No, but I mean, when you got probably the best shooter in the world as your running mate, that's gonna make you better. You're gonna feed off each other. And right now, those two, you can tell, the Warriors, everybody feel like when KD left the Warriors, that they was gonna fall off. I'm like, nah, not really.
Well,
had Clay not got hurt this year, the Warriors would have been at least the 3 seed.
They would have taken a hit anyway, because like you said, when you bring those superstars in there like that, your bench takes a hit. That's the only thing. The only other thing you have to say is they'd have to be blowing people out to get a rest because I mean, who's coming off the bench for?
Well, and that's one of the things, looking at them with Looney, Bazemore, right now, if they stay intact, they're gonna have a pretty solid bench with Wiseman coming back off of injury. Next year, they are gonna be the force to deal with in the West. I don't feel like anybody else is gonna be able to stand up to them just because of the fact that backcourt is gonna be dominant. And if you got to guard them outside, Wiseman is going to have the run in that middle. As long as he can stay healthy, they are going to be dominant because Draymond running the show at that point.
So you think Wiggins is going to up his game or is going to benefit from that a little bit?
Yeah.
I mean, he had flashes, but, I still hadn't seen him work up his full potential.
I think Wiggins will be the recipient of all of that because of the fact now I can't take my second best defender and play him like I did last year because I got to put my second best defender on Clay. And if Clay and Steph,
I'm
just saying, you know how we coach, how we try to coach things. If Clay and Steph is hot, that's gonna leave him wide open, so he can either drive the lane or I mean, what you need from Wiggins is not 22, 25 points. All you need from Wiggins consistently every night is 16 to 20 every night. Yeah. He get that. Wiseman gets his anywhere from 12 to 20. Draymond, all he got to do is get him 10. That's all Draymond needs. He ain't got to score.
No, he need 10 assists at least though, and rebounds.
Oh, he gets 10 assists and 10 rebounds. If Draymond ain't got 15, 20 triple doubles next year, something wrong. You know what I'm saying? Because of the fact he ain't gonna score a lot of points, but he's gonna get a lot of rebounds. He's gonna get a lot of assists because you can dump the ball inside. Wiseman unstoppable. Before he got hurt, the boy was having a very good year, to be honest. He come back healthy. They are gonna be a dominant basketball team. That's why I'm picking them to come out the West. Because one thing we know, street clothes is gonna be street clothes. Yeah. Okay, because they gonna listen to LeBron and they gonna load manage and whatever, and they gonna end up 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th again, while the Warriors sitting there as the 1 seed, and they gonna walk to the championship because of the fact they ain't gonna have to deal with somebody. Now next year, if the Lakers have to be in the play-in again next year, they're gonna be in trouble.
Yeah,
they are definitely gonna be in trouble.
Especially to see the Grizzlies. But I will say this: I think it's funny to sit back and watch because to me, I think Ray Allen was a great shooter. You had Reggie Miller, you had some 3-point specialists, but I think Clay and Steph, they messed the league up. I mean, everybody tries to beat them, everybody can't do what they do. It's just fun. It's fun to watch them play, but it's sad to watch other teams play because they try.
Well, I mean, I'll say it like this here, and I say it from coaching my son. When he was coming along, when Clay and Steph really, the Splash Brothers really took hold. As much as I love Clay and Steph, they didn't run the league because everybody think they can shoot threes like that. It takes a special type of fella to shoot like that, man. Them two is the only two that can do it consistently. I would throw, if I got to throw one more in there, I would say Trey, KD, and Dame. But other than that, I mean, these boys consistently pick up from the logo and shoot threes, man. And like it ain't net, while everybody else, analytics has ruined the league too, because one of the things, that's part of the reason why the Rockets were what they were. A lot of people say that 3 is better than 2, but if you hitting less than 50% of your threes and you ain't scoring no 2s, you gonna lose the basketball game. That's why I was so proud of the Bucks. Bucks play old man basketball. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what I appreciate about Middleton's game, the Booker's game, and DeMar DeRozan. I love his game because they take pride in that mid-range jumper in that 15, 17 foot game. And they take pride in that.
There's nothing wrong with the mid-range game. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of cats that will eat up the mid-range game. You know what I'm saying? They just don't do it, because it ain't flashy. That ain't gonna get you where you want to be.
On the latter years, Jordan made a living in the mid-range game with that turnaround jump. I mean,
but Mike evolved because before that, Mike was getting in the lane and embarrassing you most of the time. Mike
But still
evolved.
bad for that fadeaway too.
Well, I understand that. Mike, Kobe, Scotty had that off the window, mid-range game. Tim Duncan had the off the window mid-range game. These are cats that, again, it goes back to what we said, working on their craft and evolving from where the game is. I ain't sitting out here by 28 feet trying to throw up threes, especially if I'm 1 for 9. Why am I shooting threes?
Yeah. Especially if I can move in and get hit a high percentage shot. I'm going to score more points unless you playing Steph or Clay, because they'll shoot 70% from the 3-point line.
Right.
Better than some people free throw point averages. But if I know I'm solid from 15, 17 feet, I'm gonna try to get in my spot and I'm gonna kill you all day. Middleton, same deal.
That's the
I think the only reason why sometimes he doesn't score like he needs to is because, hey, Giannis got it. No big deal.
And that's where I looked at, the Bucks they play inside out. That is traditionally been what basketball has always been about. You dump it in. If you're gonna double team the man on the block, you need a shooter out there that can knock it down so that you can keep that double team from coming. Now, if you can't hit the side of a barn, it ain't gonna help you to dump that ball in because everybody can collapse on it. That was one of the things that made Shaq, so dominant. Yeah, he was the biggest, strongest man in the world, but at the same time, Shaq could make that pass. He could hit a Kobe or a Glenn Rice or a Robert Horry or a Derek Fisher, so they can hit the jumper so that they can score like that. That's why, again, that's why I try to tell LeBron, get your ass on the block. You can get some assists, but you will not do that because you refuse to play on the block.
You got to make a living. I mean, got to.
You can't win like that, man. That's not going to help you in the long run. You got to evolve. You getting old now. You can't play that same way like you used to play. Everybody that has played in the league for a length of time, you see their game evolve. That's how you stay in the league.
Tim didn't. That's the only one. He came in the league. Tim Duncan.
Tim was already fundamental from the start.
Yeah, he left the league the same way he came in. Only thing he had some gray hair. That's it.
That's all it was. Tim ain't changed. Tim was shooting that ball at the elbow. That's what he did when he was going out. That's all he had to do. He had one move, but it worked.
It worked.
It worked. You couldn't stop it. You couldn't do nothing with it. He had one move.
That's it.
So to put a bow up on this, I feel like, you said the Warriors Nets. I said the Warriors Bucks. I'm good with either one of them. If the Warriors don't make it, I feel like the Clippers have the best opportunity. If everybody comes back and if Kawhi is healthy, they got the best opportunity. In the East, I got my Sixers, but I just don't see it. I have no faith in Doc. I don't.
I want to believe in the Celtics, but I can't do that either. I want to believe it. I really do, but I can't.
I have no faith in Doc, man. I feel like the Hawks, made a good move by bringing back Nate as a coach. I think they're just gonna get better. I think this experience is gonna drive them.
One of their best players was out too. Hunter, I think he was out.
Yeah, Hunter was out. So he comes back. That's another outside threat. You gonna have to guard him because he's an excellent shooter and he's an excellent penetrator. So that should open it up for Trey a little bit more. But right now, man, I mean, with what I see, you got, used to be the West was the strong one and the East was the one that was the struggling one. Now I kind of feel like the balance is kind of evening out in the league. The West still strong, but I think the East has some good teams in it.
Definitely.
It's going to be interesting to see. They go back to 82 games next year. It's going to be interesting to see how that goes. Because these cats, they basically have played 2 straight years of short extended season or whatever. So, get some rest, see where they come back.
I think it's going to help them though. I mean, they are more rested. They don't have as much wear and tear, so it's going to be some adjustment, but I think it'll be a good thing.
To be honest, I think the teams that that made it far this go around is going to be in a better position, to be honest. Because you really not going to have time to get fat and lazy, because you know we got to get back on the court come October. You get a little bit of time, go to Cabo, you know, chill out for a little while, take the fan, do whatever you need to do, and then hey, it's time to go to camp. You know, that's better than what it was. It ain't the most ideal thing, but I think the league is going to help them in some ways, because they're going to spread out some stuff in the second half of the season that they couldn't do this year because they're trying to get everything in.
Yeah, true.
But I also think though, you're gonna get some matchups early in the year that you want to see. That's gonna get everybody hyped to want to see this. You know, normally, you know, we don't see the good game until right there at Christmas or after Christmas. I think you're gonna see all right off the bat. We're gonna get good games first part of November all the way through. So that's what I'm kind of looking forward to. I just think the NBA is just gonna be a great season next year. And they have earned their way to number 2 sport in America at this point, you know, and they keep doing it, you know, it's just going to keep getting better and better.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So we're putting a bow on this again. Congratulations to the Bucks. Congratulations to Giannis. Very good win. Very, very good. Congratulations to the Suns, man. I mean, we spent all the time, you know, talking about the Bucks, but you know, for the Suns to get where they were, it was real special.
And a couple of plays could have changed the outcome, so you just never know. A couple plays these games could have changed the outcome. It was a very good series.
Yeah, it could have been. I mean, it was still an entertaining series. You know, a lot of people was probably down because you know we didn't have the Lakers in the thing. I know all of New York was down because they felt like the Knicks was ready, but again, you know. It's good for the league that Milwaukee won, because that give everybody hope. You know, you ain't got to have the super team. You ain't got to put together stuff. You go back to, you know, we saw old school basketball win out for the first time in a long time.
Yeah.
So I was proud to see that, you know, and I'm hoping some kids watch this, man, and looked at, you know, got some hype. Look at Giannis, man. Yeah, he'll take a few jump shots in there, man. But get your behind on the block and play down low, man, where you supposed to be. If you that big, you supposed to be dominant.
Yeah, mid-range game in. Mid-range. 10-footer on in.
You know, there's only a few Luka Doncic. You know what I'm saying? You know, ain't a whole lot of them cats. They special. You know what I'm saying? When they come along, you already know. Okay, you just let him go. Let him go.
Good thing.
Yep. So you know what we're gonna do, you know, another 10 days or so we'll have another everything leading up. Before we go, you know, training camp started yesterday for y'all. We started today. You know, we got the Hall of Fame game in another week or so.
Yeah, we're gonna see what happens. What's called on the pup list already? Cooper. So we'll see. We'll see.
For what, man? I ain't see that.
I didn't even read it. All I know is he's on the pup list. Him and there's another player I forgot, but yeah.
Already?
Yeah, but I mean, he answers the bell when it's time, so we'll see what happens.
Hey, okay, we'll see, man. You know, a lot of people trying to bury us. Trying to everybody. I'm tired of this Cleveland Brown mess already, man. They getting on my nerve. You know, we owe them one from the playoff game, but I'm gonna be honest. The AFC North is a 2-team race that always is. It's us and the Ravens, man.
Yeah,
us and the Ravens. I respect the Ravens just because they're a franchise just like us. You know, they got a good coach, they got a good front office. They just like us. You know, they is our real rivals. I know Cleveland historically has been our rival, but I mean, they still the Browns, man. I mean, until they show me different, they still the Browns. I'm sorry. You know, I respect the Ravens because of who they are, what they represented to me for the last 20 years. You want to win that title, you got to beat Baltimore. Ain't no such thing as you got to beat Cleveland. You got to beat Baltimore. So,
but that personnel is a lot different. I mean, Ray was a staple, Ed Reed was a staple, Suggs was a staple. You know, you don't have that personnel anymore. I don't even know if you still had that same pedigree and the same dogs in the fight, you know.
Well,
So
I'm
can you
gonna
really
say,
say?
well, Lamar hasn't beaten us yet, so I would say that that's an issue. But at the same time, I will say, nobody plays us like the Baltimore Ravens. I'm sorry, it just don't happen. The only other team that we get this pure hatred for is the Dallas Cowboys, and we only get that once every 4 years. So
That's right.
um,
That's right.
but the thing about it is, you know, the Ravens are our arch rivals. You know, I know people up in Ohio and stuff. It's Cleveland. It's Cleveland. No, it's not Cleveland. It's Baltimore. And it's gonna be that until Mike Tomlin and John Harbaugh ain't the coach no more. You know, because one thing has been consistent about those two teams is they're gonna be in the playoff hunt. All these people that talking about the Steelers is going to fall off and they're not going to be anything. Obviously, you have not seen Mike Tomlin coach. He hasn't never had a losing season in his career. There's nothing that would make you think for 1 minute that they're not going to be good. And if y'all sitting there putting all y'all money on Cleveland to make the Super Bowl, y'all finna be broke, because unless Jim Brown walking through that door at age 25, 26, just don't see it happening, because Jim Brown is 83, 84. Now, I still know he looked like he can beat somebody up, but it's Jim Brown. You know what I'm saying? You know, we pay our homage and respects to the greats. You know what I'm saying?
Most definitely.
But anything else come out of Cleveland? Nah, ain't gonna happen. I'm more worried about the Bengals than I'm worried about Cleveland. That ought to tell you something right there.
That was gonna be my next thing, yeah, because the Bengals, I mean, they may turn it around this year. I mean, it was growing pains last year, but they might do something this year.
I think they let AJ go, so
but they did. I didn't know that.
Yeah, AJ's he's in guess where AJ's at?
Where is
Arizona with DeAndre.
I did remember reading that. Yeah, that's gonna be a problem. That's gonna be a problem.
That's a problem.
If he can be consistent, that's gonna be a problem.
That's a problem, okay? Because you can't double team DeAndre and leave him by himself.
You didn't double team before anyway. I mean,
you know, DeAndre is he's a smaller version of Megatron. I just say like that.
Yeah. Because he's been playing with a chip on his shoulder since his Clemson days. So I mean, that's not going anywhere.
Yeah, but you know, the thing about DeAndre is, you know, people still don't want to give him the greatest wide receiver in the game right now. And I don't understand that when he's proven you leading the league in receptions and yards when you ain't had no quarterback.
Exactly. Consistently.
You know, and then when you finally do get a quarterback, they ship you to Arizona. I mean, come on, man. Because if Deshaun had him last year, Deshaun put up 5,000 yards last year and ain't had no wide receiver.
Exactly.
If he get a wide receiver, I mean, come on, man.
If he played this year. But anyway, that's another story.
We'll get into that on another episode, but I think he's gonna play.
I hope so.
I hope so too.
We'll see.
Even though he's a Clemson man, I hope he plays. But anyway, again, thank you, folks. This is the end of episode 7. Once again, you know, tell your brother, tell your mother, tell your mama, tell your friends. You know, we're trying to grow this thing. We're gonna keep doing it the way that we do it best. And that's just sitting around, two fellas having a conversation. All right. For Bro Long and for Cook Charles, we'll say goodbye and have a nice week.